Welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Emergence. It's Michelle Wong, and today you have a solo episode with me, and I'm recording this the day after Christmas. It's the 26th, and it's been such an amazing, quiet, and just relaxing a few days. So I'm very excited to be here and record the final episode of 2020. OMG, what a crazy year, right? And so I actually don't really necessarily want to talk about 2020. I feel like I've done that a lot already. One of the things I did do, and I shared this in my past episodes, is 22 days of celebration. So I've spent so much time reflecting on this past year and really looking forward to what's going to unfold next year. And at the same time, like, how many days do we have left? Like, by the time this episode launches, I think there's like 4 days maybe, or 3 days before we approach 2021. And I just feel like we're all going through an up-leveling, no matter what's happening in our lives. Like, everyone has been called to rise, to step up, to do things differently, to confront our shadows, and to do things differently, regardless of whether or not we want to, or if we're ready to. And so I feel like 2021 is almost like a continuation, but maybe with a little bit more, optimism, maybe, forward movement, fresh air, fresh breath, more lightness perhaps, since we've gone through so much heaviness in 2020, that 2021 will be like, okay, like, we got this, and then hopefully a little bit more, still laying the brick, but more optimism moving ahead. So I'm so excited. If you've been connecting with me on Facebook, especially on Facebook, I've shared a few really exciting potentials that I'm still in the process of figuring out. And I'm just like, I don't even know what's going to happen. I really don't, but I'm so excited. And so a few weeks ago, I'll share this. A few weeks ago, I was feeling really blah, like really blah. Where I'm staying, the housing situation is, it might end. And I knew this for a while now. And I also have a lingering plane ticket. And I think I might have shared this. Like, this might be a deja vu for some of you who have been following. It's so funny, like, as an ego manifester in human design, I'm really designed to talk, use my voice. And for me, when I do my solo episodes, I actually don't really remember the things I've talked about. It's like I'm talking and there's a stream of consciousness, so words just flow out of me. And sometimes after it's done, I was like, yeah, I think this is what I talked about. So you're basically getting just stream of my consciousness right now. But anyways, so I have a lingering plane ticket that's in credit. I might be, pretty much kicked out of my living situation. And there is something else. Like, nothing is really holding me down in Seattle, right? I don't have family here. I have great friends, but we're in quarantine, all of that. And so for me, I'm very, very fluid. And as I was sitting here thinking about next year and things that I really, 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 really desire, what came through is, gosh, if it wasn't for borders and lockdowns and, all of these restrictions around travel, I would be traveling right now. And I had a coaching call with my coach, and I was basically telling her what was happening and how I was feeling really blah one day, very uninspired, and just this can't continue. I cannot be in this zone of blahness. And my coach was basically like, I don't really see you in Seattle. Like I see you like in Bali. Like I don't know why you're still in Seattle. And like her saying that really just allowed me to be witness in that moment. And I was like in tears. I've spent 2 months in Bali back in 2015. And I desire to go back and travel, especially in Southeast Asia. And I would love to go back to Bali. Although what I really want to do is travel to other places that I've not been before. But if Bali opened up its doors to me, I would spend time in the jungle. I would spend time basically in the rice fields. Like I would just take advantage of it. And now that I've already been and I have some connections there, it'll be very easy for me to go back because it's familiar. Anyway, right now Bali is not opening its doors to countries like US and Canada at this moment of the recording, at this time of recording. But other countries are. And when I say other countries, I mean Thailand. And back in May, I was actually doing some research, just like, where would I go if I had the opportunity to? Like, what if I could travel? And I definitely wanted Southeast Asia because it is good food, friendly, cost of living is cheap, and I know so many people who have spent time there and loved it that I was like, yeah, I really like every time I go back to Asia, I always feel like home. And so Thailand was like, I circled it, and I'm like, this would be a great hub to start and to really like I love Thai food, like all the things. And I visited Thailand back like I don't know how many years ago, maybe 15 years ago, but it was a different experience because I went with family. We were at a nice resort in Phuket, and it was like over the holidays actually. It was actually during Christmas. And so like, but I had a very resort experience. I didn't get a chance to visit, like experience the local culture there. It was very much, Western style resort. And so this time, international travels would be a little bit different. And so Thailand has opened up its borders, and they have a very specific visa that I was looking at because it allows me to stay there for 9 months. But I didn't get all the details when I first emailed the consulate. So all that to say is I got more answers. The application process is incredibly a headache, just say that. But I'm very excited because it means that there's options for me to really explore. And one of the things that I really wanted to just throw in there is that the requirements, all of the things, it's not easy. When I read the list, I was very discouraged, and I really wanted to toss in the towel and be like, I don't know if I really want to go through all of this. Like the 2 weeks of quarantine is the easiest part, right? I have to find a state approved hotel. I have to pay for the 2 weeks of quarantine. It includes the food and the test and then the quarantine. That sounds like 2 weeks of being locked up in a hotel. Sounds pretty atrocious, to be honest. It's like a prisoner. But like given all the other requirements, I was like, oh my God, like this is very discouraging. Like why would they think that people would jump at this opportunity? And at the same time, if I have dreams wanting to just travel abroad for however long, maybe it'll be the full 9 months, or maybe borders around the other countries will open and I get to explore other countries, and who knows, right? Maybe it'll only be for 6 months, but to have the opportunity to travel again internationally. The last time I traveled was over 5 years ago, which was to Bali. And I'm like, how did that even happen? How did 5 years go by? And the only places I've really traveled between the time I returned back to the US from Bali to now is, basically around the US, and then 1 to 2 trips up to Canada to meet my parents, to see my parents, or up to like, Vancouver, because it's like a 2.5 hour drive away. Right? But like, it's so easy that we let time pass by and not even realize, like, oh my God, time goes by so fast. And so one of the things is I'm really committed to my big dreams. And at first, the idea of selling everything or selling things and putting things in storage and doing that whole process again felt like such a headache. And that is why so many people don't. That's why it's like even looking at the visa requirements and all the effort that it takes to start putting things away, start planning. It takes a while. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, or you could just wing it, right? But for me, I tend to be a planner. I want things to go smoothly. And it's like in the beginning, it seems so daunting. And unless we really are connected to our wild, big dreams, unless we are connected to it, it's easy to just let things just be so like, let's do the path of least resistance and let's just whatever is easier. And when that happens, then we just go on autopilot, right? And that's not why we're here. We're not here to go on autopilot. And so when I had all that resistance in the beginning, this was like back in May, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be such a big change. And I really had to sit in with my resistance of like what would happen, and like basically kind of uprooting things again. And there's certain things that I now know that I really appreciate when it comes to international travel and long-term traveling, is that I really love having a home base, right? So if I'm like moving around from like city to city within a short period of time, that really gets me ungrounded. So like I definitely know that having like a solid base, even for knowing, okay, I'm going to be here for 3 weeks, or I'm going to be here for a month, and then next month I'll be somewhere else. If I have that, then having a home base while I'm like anchored in a city is really, really helpful for me. And so with that piece, even if traveling, I had so much resistance to it at first for whatever reason, I think it was just like, oh my God, changes again, right? It could be a doorway to other big dreams. That's something I have to credit my coach, Jonna Kingsford, for sharing with me, because she's all about big dreams. And, she said, even if traveling abroad and putting everything in storage feels like a headache, but for whatever reason you can't shake it off, that might be a stepping stone to something bigger, but you won't know until you go through it. Like you won't know. And when she said that, I just felt like a relief in my body, because it's like, well, sometimes we don't know what is next, but we just know we have to follow this seed, this thread. And we can't figure everything out, or we can't know our entire plans and our entire path and plan. But we can definitely lean into the areas where maybe slightly uncomfortable, but it brings curiosity within us and excitement. And so as I'm exploring the requirements, as I'm doing more research, I'm getting more excited. And sometimes like, what is happening? Like, why are they making it so complicated? This is harder. Why couldn't it be easier? Because if it's easier, then, well, first, everybody would do it. Second, it's not so interesting of a story, right? We have to have the challenge. We have to have the heroine's journey, so that there's the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, the peaks and the valleys, all the things, so that at the end of the day, when we look back, it's like, yeah, oh my God, that was so crazy. And I can't believe that happened and that happened. And it was so worth it. So all that to say is I'm launching something. It's going to be a mini series, or I'll call it episodes. I'm telling you now. I don't have a name for it yet, but it's going to tie in my travels, my stories, what started planting the seeds for all of this. And I'm linking it up to my human design, because human design has been such a pivotal part of my 2020 in my business and my own personal life, that I really want to share what happens when we can align with our true selves, right? When we come back to ourselves, and sometimes when we go off path, right? When we get conditioned, when we forget about conditioning and we let the external influence us, And I've been kind of like, quote unquote, battling my condition over the past few days, even in the holidays, feeling like, oh, I should show up online more because I built such amazing momentum. And at the same time, like, it's the holidays, I just kind of want to like unplug a little bit and relax. So I kind of did a dance of both. Like, yesterday was Christmas, and I just spent the whole day chilling. Even on Christmas Eve, I didn't spend that much time online, just starting to cut back a little bit more. And then today, same thing. Today is the 26th. It's Boxing Day, technically, in Canada, and I believe in the UK and maybe in Australia and New Zealand. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, and I don't actually know the history of Boxing Day, but anyway. So that to me is like part of like a trio holiday series, right? Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. And so really giving myself permission to unplug and to rest and do whatever the F I want, and really like puttering around as I please and all the things. So that's what I did, and it's been so glorious. And at the same time, getting very excited for the doors that are not slowly, just unexpectedly opening up for me with respect to travels. So I'm going to share more in my Facebook Lives, and then I'm going to upload those into the podcast, because I want to share the journey with you, especially for those who aren't on Facebook. And I would still like to, to get updates. Definitely, I will upload to the podcast. So more to come there. But I just wanted to share and inform you, that's my strategy in human design, to inform you all of what's been happening behind the scenes. I'm super excited. And basically my plan and my intention is to continue to grow my business abroad, because my business is 100% online. And that's something that I always, not always, I think, well, obviously now it makes most sense to have an online business, because face-to-face is not very feasible right now. But my business has been international since this year, actually. So more of that to come. I'm so excited for 2021. Like, I feel like for me, 2021 is a continuation of 2020 in terms of my business, and just continue to grow and expand, and to hone my craft even more, right? My craft with human design, with how I show up, with my mentoring, with everything. And one of the pieces that I feel like this is actually, it was brought to my attention through a human design reading with one of my clients who's also a manifestor. And she said to me, do you grow your business by informing? And I paused and I'm like, actually, I do. Like, I don't do any cold calls or reach outs to people on DMs. I don't ask them to join my programs. I don't do that anymore. When I was in a different industry, that's how we were taught, right? To reach out to people, to follow up all the time, to initiate. And it's in alignment with my manifestor design, but I never really loved it. I felt always uncomfortable. And so I'm doing it by informing now, right? Like, I'll initiate ideas and different things, but I pull and draw and magnetize people to me by informing, letting people know what's up, letting people know, the things that I'm creating, and continuing to show up for myself, and sharing what I have with other people. And that to me is a beautiful way of growing my business. And so I'm so excited for 2021. I have HD Mind Mastermind, which is all about embodying our human design, kind of in real time, and having 3 months of support with mastermind support, and infusing your design in your business. That's something that for me is becoming more and more apparent for me, and how important it is for me to be in alignment, and then also sharing with other people so that they have their own strategy, not someone else's formula for being successful, but following your own strategy and your own authority, and knowing your own design so that you feel in alignment. Even though sometimes it's not uncomfortable, because we were taught differently, right? Culturally and societal wise. So anyway, more to come. But if you are interested in an HD human design reading, I have two, HD Express or HD Expanded. And then I have my mastermind that's starting next month in January. And I also have HD Embodied. So HD Embodied is 1 month of integrating your design after you do a reading. So that's the prereq to do HD Embodied. It's to have a reading with me. And that's what I wanted to share. So I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful New Year 2021. By the time, this is the last recording for 2020, and it's been such an honor to journey through 2020 with you. More magic to come in 2021, and sending you all so much love, so much gratitude. I'm so happy that you're here listening, and I love you so much. So stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers. Join our free private Facebook group community, Sacred Emergence, to receive more connection, guidance, and support, and take part in our 5-day Inner Confidence Challenge to not only boost your confidence, but to help activate your inner leadership. Details in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing this with others who can benefit. Until next time.